Hey guys, welcome back to channel Positive No Cleaning, and this is week number 19 of our 100K journey of 2024. I'm gonna just be honest with you guys. I am totally just destroyed from today's job. It's Friday. We almost did a construction clean, kind of. It was just everything, cleaning all the tracks. There was a lot of paint on the windows we had to take care of, and they wanted their windows inside and out done, and screens, which is great. Great add-on, by the way. I always say, if you can put, a charge on your screen cleaning, charge it for $5 or whatever you want to do. But yeah, it was just a lot of work, but we're just very happy that we were able to get the job, and also too, it paid well. But wow, even my wife is tired. She already went to sleep early today. So yeah, it was a pretty big job. But anyways, let's just get straight into it. But first, I just want to say thank you guys so much again for placing orders through me. If you ever wanted a product specifically that you don't see on the links down below or anywhere else, just feel free to reach out to me. I can get you your own personal link, and obviously going through that link will help the channel out a lot, and we'll be very grateful for that. But anyways, this week it just was a lot of things going on, but I'm gonna get straight into it. I have my notes here just in case, because I'm pretty tired. I was in the sun all day, so just be patient with me when I'm trying to explain things. But the first job that we did, it was pretty nice because we gave her a bid a couple of weeks ago, and I guess she's having family coming in this week. And so what ended up happening was, when we gave her a bid, I'm not even joking, we talked with her for at least an hour. My wife and I were there giving a bid, not and we were there for a bid. We ended up talking about other things, just random things, and she had a couple of dogs, and it was nice to play with them too while we were talking about just life in general, And it was just, a very nice family, and ended up being that we gave her a bid for inside and out. And we did tell her about our price for screens, that we charge $5 a screen. But so when we did that, we were there for a whole hour. We ended up leaving. And then she ended up texting me later, and she was like, hey, just want to let you know. I'm not even joking, I would say 30 minutes. So just, kind of bear with me, because this bid, apparently she got another one, was really quick, within 30 minutes, So they came after us at some point, and then from there, she, talked with them, gave the bid, and left. She ended up saying to us that our bid was $50 higher than the other person, but she ended up going with us because she liked us a lot. And the reason why I'm saying all this is because, sometimes when you do give a bid, even if you don't get the job, it's always nice to be personable, talk to the individual. You always can learn something new, right? But, we gave the bid. We didn't know that we were, competing with someone else. We thought we were just the only bid, right? Just kind of the vibe that we got. Ended up being that we got the job overall, and we ended up doing the job on Monday. Super nice. We ended up doing a few of her screens, and man, she was just so happy. And because I always say, I do the outside, Ashley does the inside. She was able to talk to Ashley a little bit, my wife Ashley a little bit on the inside, and it was nice. And just overall was a good vibe. And it was just very nice customer that we had, and it gave us some points about life, and we're just happy to have a clients like that. So the second person that we did this week was kind of nice, because I actually haven't cleaned his windows before COVID, and so I was I've always told you guys this, that every year you should raise your prices, or at least your minimum, to a certain degree, right? Because inflation sucks, and with everything keeps going up, you need to kind of have a minimum that you can say, okay, if I got this job, I'm not losing, if that makes sense. That's why you have a minimum, because that's how much it takes for you to get there, set up, be licensed and insured and all that. That's why you have a minimum, right? So the reason why I'm saying that is because with him, I was a little worried, because he was less than half of my minimum before. And so I was kind of just So what I ended up doing with him was, I actually gave him, and it's really a simple cookie cutter, and we were there for a couple hours. And he also wanted his solar panels cleaned too. We ended up just like saying, hey, or well, I shouldn't have told you guys about the solar panels, but it was really cool because what ended up happening was like, hey, you know what? I'll do your inside and out for my minimum. I gave him my minimum. And then he was like, sure, no problem. And he's like, what about, do you do solar panel cleaning? I was like, yeah. He's like, that's the reason why I was actually contacting you, because I wanted my solar panels cleaned, but also I might as well get my windows cleaned like you did last time. So I said, no problem. So I did. I said, okay, we charge, as you guys probably know by now, $10 a solar panel. He's like, perfect. And I was like, okay. If you wanted your screens cleaned, you know, we do that for $5 more. And I sent him a link for my Instagram and then showing how I clean screens. He's like, let's do it. So pretty much I got from that client that I haven't, you know, seen or done his house in like, I guess 5 years. Then from there, 5-6 years, I should say, to then now, it's just like nice to actually be able to reconnect with our clients. Even got a couple of add-ons, right? The screen cleaning and solar panel. They love the results. They're super happy. Yeah, they're like, all right, we'll try to see you in every 6 months, you know, hopefully, because of the solar panels. They're like, yeah, maybe we'll see you in 6 months. So pretty cool in that way. And then middle of that job, I got a bid, right, or a request for a bid. And I said, okay, hey, you know, I was talking to my wife. I was like, hey, I think, you know, we can, you know, give this person a bid. And I kind of saw his house. I was like, you know, if anything, maybe we can even do the job. My wife's like, yeah, of course, if we have the availability, right? So, okay, cool. So then what ended up happening was we ended up going to the second, so we finished the job, right, that I was just saying about the solar panels, all that. Went to this individual's house and was looking at the house. I was like, okay, what would you like done? Oh, just outside only. And it was just like a little small townhome. And I was like, okay. And he's like, oh, but there's one window on the inside that's kind of hard to get to because it's like, you know, like it's like kind of like a loft window in the sense that it's like the wall all the way to the second floor, and there's like a window there, so there's like no actual like way to get there unless you have a ladder or a pole, right? So he's like, I just want that done. And we're like, okay, well, when would you like to have this done? He's like, well, I'm actually having a party that's, you know, gonna be in a couple weeks, and you know, it's I forget, it's for one of his kids, and he wants the house to look good and everything like that. And I was like, looking at my wife, and I was like, well, this is our price. And he's like, okay, great. So, and then I was like, well, when would you like to do it? Well, anytime, you know, between now and then, you know, it doesn't have to be the day before. And I was like, well, we could do it now if you want. And he's like, all right, let's do it. So we ended up doing his house, which was like really easy. And the thing is that I'll be honest, did not trust my water fed system. He did not trust it. And I don't blame him. You know, I always say like 3 times out of 10, people don't trust my system. They don't believe me until afterwards, right? So I was there and everything, and I was kind of like, you know, going with my brush, and I even showed him like, oh, this is how I clean your window. And he was just like, okay, so you actually brush the window. Oh, I thought you were just going to just shoot water at it. I was like, no, you have to have the brush in order to clean, right? So you just a 2-for-1. You need the water and brush, right? So he's like, oh, okay, all right. And then I'm cleaning, and then he's just like kind of comes in and out like randomly, and like, you know, it's just like very weird. And then Ashley was on the inside cleaning the inside window, and she did an awesome job taking care of that. And then like at some point, like towards the end of the job, he was kind of like at the point like in his like sofa relaxing, watching sports. And I was just like, oh, I don't know if you guys know, I'm a huge Laker fan, so I was like looking at the game, like looking at not the game, but the ESPN or whatever he was watching, and I was like, oh, I don't even want to watch that because, you know, the Lakers lost. And I was like, you know, but he was just like just talking overall, and he was just like, you know, Andy, I actually did research and I looked up your system, and you know, I didn't know your system was like $3,000. And I was just like, yep, that's pretty much just the system itself. My pole and everything kind of starts adding up to that. And he's like, oh man, no wonder you charge the way you do. You know, I was even looking online, and you know, there's other people that charge less than what you do, but at the same time, they do everything by hand with a squeegee and mop. And I was just like, yeah, well, that's the thing, you know, like when I first started, that's how I did it. I had a mop and squeegee. I would get an aluminum pole to do second story windows or whatever. If it wasn't for my machine, I would probably be here for like, you know, the whole day, because you had second story windows, you know, it was kind of in a difficult angle. But with the water fit, I'm just able to just, you know, do what I can and just boom, 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 knock it out pretty easily. He's like, oh, no, I love the speed and the technique unique and like how fast, and the results look amazing. And I was just like, yeah, thanks. I mean, this is how I've been doing it. He's like, no, you're good, you're good. So ended up having that customer be very happy with the results. And so it's kind of nice. Like, again, you know, I know sometimes when you say something as a salesperson, you know, you're trying to sell your services, right? But at the same time, if you're kind of just there and just kind of talking and like people don't believe you, then that's one thing, right? But if you're talking and you're very, you know, confident like I am, like, oh yeah, I've been doing this since 2016. You know, I haven't, you know, I didn't start off with the water fed, but I, you know, did it traditionally, and then eventually I started upgrading my system or whatever. And then, so the whole point of it is that having this system makes things so much easier. And then, you know, he was just overall very happy to see, like, you know, this whole water fed system and all that other stuff. So anyways, very nice guy. He loved the results, and, you know, obviously he understood the price of why I was charging the way I was charging. So I know if you guys have been following the last couple of weeks, I would say a couple months, if anything. I had one client that kept postponing. And then 2 weeks ago, I finally got her in. Yes, right? But then, unfortunately, when I went to her house, she was like really sick. And so I actually had to go, even though it was outside only, I had to still go inside to take off some screens. So I was like, you know, it's not a problem. I understand, you know, life happens. And that's the thing I love about having a small business, is that you can like kind of talk to people and just let people know like, hey, this is, you know, okay, or whatever, you know, be flexible. And so I was just like, you know, I'll come back another time. And so now moving on to this week, I can finally say have done her windows. And she was there, and, you know, I was able to take off the screens from the inside, do the whole house or the outside only. She was so nice, and she had other things going on, but she was just so grateful to have her windows clean, and she was just so happy. And, you know, it's just, I really like those type of customers, really, that they are there, you know, they know that you're providing a service, but they make it a little bit easier for you in a sense, like, you know, they're very positive and very thankful, you know, not that she gave me a tip or anything, but like she was just very positive and being like, oh, thank you so much, you want, let me pay you right now. Like, you don't have to have those like awkward conversations, if that makes sense. You could just be like, you know, show up, oh, here's your payment. It's like, great, right? So then, now, moving on from her, we get to the job for today, right? And I'm going to rewind a little bit how, like, the bidding process kind of happened, and then it was kind of funny. So when we came to this person's house, we mentioned to them, you know, like what services we provide and everything, and what would they like to have, right? And they're like, well, I want my windows done inside and out. I really want the tracks cleaned, and I want all our screens cleaned. Man, this screens that they had was like full of thick dust, okay? Now, hopefully I have the video showing here that, man, you don't know how thick of dust it was, that it was like all the dust was coming out while I was using the screen cleaner. Man, that was just a lot of dust. But anyways, so we were there, and we said, okay, we can take care of all that. This is the price. We do charge, this is the price for tracks and your windows inside and out. Now, when it comes to the screens, it's going to be $5 extra, right? And so at least they understood that. So I work on the outside, and my wife works on the inside. And he's like, oh, okay. And I was like, so that's kind of how we work and everything. Okay, so and his wife wasn't there, but he's like, message my wife, tell her the price, and then I think we're good, but just let her know anyways. Okay, and then he was like, okay. So then at the end, he was like, okay, so your wife will come every week to come to clean and everything like that? And I was like, no, it's just a one-time thing. And then he's like, oh, okay. And he had other things on his mind too. So then we get in the car, and it's kind of like a driveway that has like a gate, you know, at the end to open or whatever. So we're going down, and my wife's like, does he think I'm going to clean the house on the inside? I was like, no. I mean, we're doing window cleaning and track cleaning. I mean, that's what we said. I think he misunderstood what we said. And I was like, okay. So I literally stopped when we were waiting for the gate to open. I got out of my car. I was like, hey, just want to ask, like, what did you mean by like every week for her to come? Oh, she's not cleaning the floor and everything. And I was like, no, we're just doing the tracks. Oh, I'm so sorry. But yeah, but the price is good. Yeah, just message my wife and we'll see you Friday. But so it was just like the funniest thing ever, because he thought that when I said my wife does the inside, meaning we're implying the the windows and tracks, he also thought she was like a maid or something that would take care of the inside of the house, which was something that we never talked about. But sometimes people have like different ideas when you're like saying something to them and they might be thinking something else. So anyways, so now going to today's job, we showed up. They were there. They had the contract signed and everything, which was awesome. We counted all the screens, and then they're like, okay, when the job is done, I'll bring you a check and we'll get everything settled. And I said, okay. So we were there, actually did an amazing job doing the tracks, the windows. I did the windows on the outside. Pretty much it was like all one story kind of, and then like, because it was on a hill, like there was some parts that were kind of the second and third story, but technically they're the first floor, but you kind of get what I'm trying to get at. So, but yeah, it was just like, man, the sun was there. We're on a hill. We had a beautiful view of Los Angeles. It was awesome. But it was just like a lot of work. And, we got paid well, and we want to do the job good the first time, right? And so we got there, we did everything. And they even said that she's very picky. She's very picky when it comes to her tracks and everything like that, which that's the best part about having your own business, is that once you get into the routine of things, when people are like, oh, it's like, for example, like screen cleaning, right? Maybe if you get a screen cleaner, right, from WCR, the screen cleaner that you probably are watching at some point of this video. I still haven't edited this part yet, so that's why I'm saying it like that. But maybe the first time you're doing it, it might not be like the easiest technique, because you might not know how to do it, because yeah, you see me, oh yeah, no problem, but how long have I been doing this, right? But when you're going, you're kind of like, oh, okay, how am I doing this? Is this right? Is this not right? Am I putting too much pressure? Am I gonna break it? You know what, kind of what I'm trying to get at? So that same technique, that once you get used to it, right, then from there it becomes second nature. Oh, make sure you don't bend my screens. Yeah, I know that, right? And you just go boom, 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 and you're good to go, right? So the same thing with tracks. My wife already has it down, like, okay, so I do it like this, and this. And she already has a certain technique of how to clean, right? So when she says, oh, I'm very picky, we say, no problem. We take care of the tracks like every single job. When you pay for the service, which, we kind of included with her price, but we're like, when you have this included, we do it in a certain way, and it always gives good results. And so she's like, okay, and I never met the wife to this point, right? She's just texting me. So I said, okay. So we ended up doing the whole job and everything like that. The husband was kind of going in and out. They kind of had a couple of contractors come in and out doing certain things in the house. And so he was kind of going. And so we were having lunch. And what happened was, so I'm going to rewind. But while we were having lunch, or I guess before we were having lunch, what ended up happening was Ashley was taking care of the tracks, but because I was using the water fed, the tracks would get like flooded, and she's like, well, then, I have to redo it again. So we decided that, like, kind of like in the very beginning, after like maybe 5-6 windows, that she's like, you know what, I'm going to do the tracks at the end, right? So at that point, now we're having lunch, and I'm looking in my rear view mirror, right, looking behind, and he was actually at a window that we haven't cleaned yet of the track. We cleaned the window, but not the track itself, and he's opening, and I was like talking to my wife, I was like, I bet you he's gonna say that, man, you're not doing a good job and everything like that. So he came out, right, and then actually was like, oh, he's outside close to the car. I said, oh, let me talk to him. So I came out, and I was like, hey, how's it going? He's like, hey, he's like, oh yeah, you guys are doing a great job. And I was like, oh, I just want to let you know about the track. What'd you think of it? And he's like, oh, like, it's okay, like I know you guys are gonna touch it up and everything. Very nice guy, really. He was so positive, and I was like, yeah, that's the thing. I was talking to my wife that, we didn't clean it, and I explained to him why, because the water is going to flood the track. So I said, but at the end, we're going to take care of the track and everything, so don't worry about it. And he's like, no, I trust you guys. So we saw your reviews, and, we know you're going to do a good job. So now going forward, we did the job. Man, it's just a huge job. We got everything done, right? So then at the very, very, very end, the wife shows up, and she had the check. She gave us a check, and we walked around. And I think her husband kind of talked to her a little bit about the job itself, because she really didn't walk around with us. She kind of just came and was like, thank you so much. Thank you. She was very nice. And I was like, based on the text message, she seemed like someone, which is everyone to their own. She was very focused on having her tracks cleaned very well, because she says she's very picky, right? So going for someone like this, I was mentally preparing that she's going to go and be like, oh, you have something here, right? Which is not a problem again, and we can touch it up wherever it needs to be, right? But no, she just was like, oh, thank you so much, it's amazing and everything. And I actually had to open the tracks, the windows for her to show the track. She's like, no, it's okay, this and that. Okay, great, thank you. And she didn't even like go like to the like she only went to like a quarter of the house. After that, she's like, it's good, it's good. And she didn't even look at the window. So all in all, very good clients. She was very happy, and hopefully she leaves us a review. That will be very nice. But overall, you know, it was a very busy week this week, yeah, we just. It's nice to have summer back, but also too with the summer it drains you a little bit. But you know, that's just how things work. But we're very happy to have summer back. It's not raining every single day. So all in all, this week we made. And then like a little drum roll, right? Because after all my talking, we made $2,845. So that's how much we made this week. We're very happy with all the work that we're getting. And it's just, you know, it's nice to be a window cleaner again during this time. And yeah, I remember the beginning of the year, I was like, man, just having one job, I was happy, you know, because, you know, we knew that we didn't have any work during that time. But now seeing that we're pretty much like fully booked already, and it's like already pushing to June, it's very nice. So, but all in all, this is our update for week 19. And if you've made it this far, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.